Hi everyone, welcome to another Scryfall Shenanigans. One of my favourite videos to make. So, in a previous video, I don't know if it was a Scryfall Shenanigans video, or maybe possibly the last This Old Deck video that I did, I was sort of talking about, selection criteria, if you like, for Scryfall Shenanigans inclusion. And I think I was mentioning that, well, if there's a set out there that has cycles of rares at every rarity, but, well, not every single, not mythics I don't really include, but, common, uncommon, rare, it's good enough. And then I thought a bit deeper about, what set I was going to do next, and I fancied doing some land again. And then a long-term friend of the channel, on another video where a land, I think one of these lands, I think it was these, had cropped up when I was going through Cobra stuff. And I thought, I love the artwork on these lands as well. And 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So there's a cycle common, there's a cycle uncommon, and we do have 1 card at rare. So that's good enough for me. So this may be a slightly shorter episode because we've only got 12 cards, but you know what happens when I say that. It doesn't always turn out the way I intended. So I'm going to just drill down through, each of the cycles and the one at the end, just to see what we get come up at a sort of cycle level. So I'm not going to do it for every single card in the same cycle. And then we'll start to maybe zoom in for the different rarities and really get up close with the artwork. I think some of these I've got in paper and may have even done videos already when I went to pass through of all my sort of or edited selected highlights of my paper collection. But further down the line I may well revisit some of these in a sort of non-basic land episode in chronological order, because I've got a lot of commons from early, common non-basic lands from early sets actually. So let's go into this first cycle. So these are the commons. We're just going to Ancient Spring and see what we can find. So yeah, Cycle of Invasion, sack lands. So that's the tag in Scryfall. Adds multiple mana, it's ramp, and similar to this one. Okay, so this has come up a few times now. It's featured in a recent This Old Deck episode. And there's a cycle of these from, what would it be, Homelands. And then they were reprinted in a couple of core sets with different artwork. But anyway, back to this one. So, cards that add more than 1 mana at a time. I'm more interested really here in adds multiple mana that's a land. So like, where has that happened? So 96 cards. If we put that in order, in fact this probably has echoes of This Old Deck episode. Release date, ascending, we should probably do his first printing just to make sure we have the earliest instance, so that'll probably take us to, yeah. Okay, so we've got things like Mish's Workshop, the Urza lands, City of Shadows, Bottomless Pit, Dwarven Hold, Dwarven Ruins. There's quite a number of them from Homelands actually. I'll have to check. I haven't already visited Homelands in a Scryfall Shenanigans episode. I think I was trying to think what angle I could do for that set. I've got some alliances stuff, some Tarifi's Isle, which generate multiple mana. Then there's these visions ones, yeah, which are commonly called the Karoo lands. They come into play tapped. When they come into play, you return an untapped land you control to the owner's hand, or you bury it. And then when they come online, you get to tap it for the colour and a colourless mana. Then we go through Weatherlight, and we've got a couple of these which aren't part of a cycle. And then we've got Ancient Tomb from Tempest. We have City of Trace from Exodus, and you can see all of these generating multiple mana in with, you know, various caveats in terms of getting these out into play. So some sort of downside, because you can imagine either you've got to jump through a few hoops to get multiple mana, or it's going to do something to you. There's some other downside. Interestingly, we get, well, or not surprisingly, I should say, not interestingly, but not surprisingly, we get to Urza's Saga and things get a little out of control. Yeah, such is the nature of Urza's Saga. In terms of, we've got stuff like scaling off of cards, which never ends well. Then we got these, which use storage counters. And you can remove any number of them. But if you remove all of them... Oh, so hang on, what am I saying? Yeah, so you can remove any number of them. You can put storage counters on them, remove any number of them. Additionally, in the same set, there were these depletion lands where they came into play with a certain number of depletion counters on them. You could remove them from them. When you removed the depletion counter, it added 2 of the specific mana. But if there's no depletion counters left, and you have to sacrifice it, and there's no way within this of adding depletion counters on. But what you could do, I suppose, is bounce. If you had a means to bounce it back to your hand, you could replay it and then, you know, come into play with 2 depletion counters on it. Yeah, so a couple of types of lands there that allow you to generate multiple mana in Mercadian Masks. Then we've got, there's the invasion ones, which we're looking at. Interesting things like Cabal Coffers, Temple of the False God, Cloud Post, and then the original Ravnica lands, which once they go online are able to generate 2 colours of magic, 2 colours of mana, and they were spread out over the 3 sets in the block. In, was it 4-3-3 arrangement, I think. And we get these interesting lands from, would be Time Spiral, which play around with storage counters. And you can opt to remove multiple storage counters. And there's a mechanism to put them on, but the land doesn't blow up when you remove them all. See. This always makes me smile. This one will spit out, it spits out goats, but you can sacrifice the goats to add mana based on the amounts of goats you sacrifice. And then we've got a few one-offs here that aren't part of a particular cycle. There's another cycle. No, sorry. These aren't part of a cycle, my mistake. I'm jumping ahead a bit here. I've got to keep an eye on these so I can spot where the cycles begin and end. So it looks like we got quite a lot of one-offs here. I thought there was another cycle later on, but yeah, probably not then. Okay. Yep, so that's that. Now, if I go back to this, let's pick up for the next one. So, moving on to the uncommon stuff. Just again using Archaeological Dig because it's going to have similar tags on it because it's part of a cycle. Sacrifice. Oh, sorry, that's the odd one out, isn't it? If I got that, that's why there's 12. Yeah, so there's an odd one out here in the uncommon, so it's actually got 6 at uncommon rather than 5, because there's this one, which is 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool, and 1 colourless mana to your mana pool, sack it. So it's an odd one out. Here's the cycle. So these are tap lands. I'll do those first, then go back to that one. So yeah, cycle of evasion, dual tap lands. And not surprisingly, you can see for all of these, tap lands in various guises are very popular in Magic. Tap lands that do 2 colours, and you can see here, so these are all worse than, so we can see if we can try and pick out the ones where it's similar to. There we go, there's the Ice Age Cold Snap ones. But what I meant to say, I misspoke here. So some of these are other tap lands, but the reason why they're better than this tap land, which comes into play tapped, is that either they tap for extra colours of mana, or they do something else. You get some extra bonus, something like that. But also we've got other things in here, like various check lands as well, and stuff like Glacial Fortress, which is another one that checks to see whether you control a plains or an island, and then it enters the battlefield tapped unless you control plains or an island. And I think there's a card that's the reverse of that as well. Now, what I was trying to think of, so there's those, and isn't there another cycle of tap lands? But I just don't remember. I'm not going to just try and remember one from them. Yeah, because the Tranquil Cove's part of the life lands. I mean, the Guildgate comes into play tapped, but it's better. So this card is worse than Azorius Guildgate, because Azorius Guildgate is a gate, and there's a card which will say, if you control a gate, then so there's some synergies there which wouldn't be present here. I don't think there's any card in Magic that says if you control a tap land. Interesting. It's there and there, so take what you will from that. Prairie Stream. You can see several check lands here. It's another life land. Just go in and see. So yeah, reprinted in 8th edition, and I suspect all of these, oops, not that one, you can see some have been reprinted wholesale in a set as part of the cycle. Other ones have cropped up in various commander decks based on what the colour combination, the colour identity of particular decks were. And you also got multiplayer things like Plane Chase as well. But if you go into these, you'll notice that with the Scryfall Tagger side of things, we get a whole slew of dual lands and tri-lands which have the, enter the battlefield tapped on them, but either that can be not be tapped because they're checking against a certain state, or you're getting something additional, or it's, to all intents and purposes, a functional reprint. Oh, there we go. That's the one I was trying to think of, Timber Gorge. So which one of these were reprinted quite a few times? Yeah, these ones. Yeah, those are the Gatewatch. I reprinted those a lot. So yeah, it's a functional reprint. So there's cycles of those as well. And then just going back to that one of there, Archaeological Dig, which wasn't part of a cycle at that rarity. Yeah, Sacrifice Self. And there's probably quite a number of, if we were to look type of land, got 165, including the ones at common as well. So you've got various lands that you can sacrifice to do a number of things, and if we look at that on there and do is first printing, there we go, good old strip mine, safe haven. Yeah, these tap sacrifice lands, which yeah, come up before. Quicksand, Terminal Moraine. I suppose I'll have to be a bit careful with these Scryfall Shenanigans for non-basic lands, because when I get to this point of drilling down, there's going to be a lot of duplication, so I'll have to keep an eye on that in terms of the things I look at. And then at the end here, so we've got this, which is our only rare. Sacrifice a creature to do damage, and also there's a cost there involved. It's one colourless mana. Okay, so it's a pinger for 2. It's got bombard because you're sacrificing something to do end damage, of which there are a number of those in Magic. Let's just see when that started. Ta-da! Orcish Mechanics. In terms of, lands that maybe have that on it, there's a few there. Pretty cool artwork. You've got Blighted Gorge as well. Is that a functional reprint? Looks like it might be. Yeah. There it is. Yeah, utility land, of which there are many as we've seen before. Super Cycle Legendary Land. That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. So it is part of a cycle, but it's just a super cycle. It's not a set, within a set. It's not even within a block, is it? I think. Let me have a look before I commit myself on that. Release date. Ascending. So what do we got? Mirage, Stronghold, Urza, Nemesis, and then Invasion. So that straddles even multiple blocks, I suppose. Yeah. Well, forgotten about that. So yeah, just part of the cycle, but just not within the set. So prices, yeah, this is a nice little set if you're after some nice land artwork, which we'll look at in a moment, and you know you don't want to spend a lot, because you saw there the most expensive one is 114. Now, a very good point was made actually about doing this sort of collecting of old things, where you have to be a little bit careful. Sometimes you find with the older cards it is quite hard to find like near mint copies. That's all. So yeah, thanks for whoever reminded me that in the comments section actually when I was talking about this sort of thing, because I'd completely forgotten about that aspect of it, because definitely I've bought some earlier lands from earlier sets, and yeah, some of them a little bit ragged, so just don't want to raise your hopes up too high, but yeah, look at the they're not super expensive. Also in this view it's nice because we can see which ones of these have ended up being reprinted. That one even in Commander 2017. Geothermal Crevice, Ancient Springs. Irrigation Ditch. And often as well, these tap lands can get forgotten about from the earlier sets when there's, the other ones that were excessively reprinted later on. And the functional reprints. Okay, so let's do what I like to do here, and we'll go into... How close do you want to go in? That close? I don't know. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Maybe a bit too close, but I mean, if I could do it at that, if I do it at... Yeah, let's really go for it. Just trying to decide whether it's 3 or 2. One looks a little bit grainy, but it's not too... doesn't seem too bad on my screen. I've got a... What is this I'm working off of? 32, I think, maybe. 32-inch screen. They look pretty good. So, yeah, we'll use this as a test here again. Let me know in the comment section if it looks really grainy on anybody's screen at this, zoom level. But it is nice to be able to see the detail. Now you can see here we've got a bit of pixelation around there. And we have Irrigation Ditch. Very cool. Yeah, that it looks a little bit less pixelated, but yeah. Let's go on to this one. So there they are, a little bit more zoomed out. There's our archaeological dig. Looks really cool. So we'll go in. There we go. Coastal Tower. Salt Marsh. Yeah, I love these. Bug Volcano, Shivan Oasis, Hawthorne Palace. Lovely detail on this one. An archaeological dig. Very nice. Holden Necropolis. Oh look, yeah. There we go. These characters down here all carrying torches. Awesome. That's really cool. I like that. Also, nice little touches. You know, I have mentioned this before. I don't know. Yeah, it is easy to see. Can you see the blending on the two colours in the box here? The sort of yellow finish round here as well. Very good. Okay, so we better unzoom it because I want to talk about EDH here. Okay. We'll do it at that. So, black, red, what do we got? $6,018 decks. I'm not expecting these to be necessarily high up. Yeah. What's the bottom of the pile? Irrigation ditch, I suppose so. Where are we? 434 decks. Anyway, I think you get the picture. But love the artwork. But I have saved the best to last. How could I resist the fact that Invasion was a large set and therefore we have some basic lands to look at. Here they are in Wooburg order, and we'll go in a moment and get up nice and close. But I'm sure some of these you will recognise from Land Ahoy episodes and other artwork episodes where I've sort of gone into certain basic land which shares the same sort of artwork, because it does crop up a bit. And I think most of you know, I'm not going to do it for all of them, but don't forget, there's these useful searches for artwork. So we've got planes in the same set, planes by the same artist, basic lands in the same set, basic lands in the same artist, by the same artist. So yeah, it's useful to play around with those. Right, let's crank it. Whoa, okay. Get some detail going on here. Very nice. Let me try and get that out of the way, actually. There's some sort of standing stones here. Looks like some sort of sacrificial altar, unfortunately. Oh well. Oh yeah, this one. Oh yeah, look at the little waterfall there. I love these swamps in here. Just so gnarly. What the hell is that? Oh, that's a rat, isn't it? I think some sort of spiky rat. Very eerie. Oh yeah. These would be definitely very cool in a deck. This is pretty unusual. This one here. And again, like nice touches with the bordering here. So here you can see with both of the inner and the outer sort of narrow bordering. We've got the in the same colour as the manor. This is a real classic. You can see these two figures here that you might miss. And I really like this one as well. And I'm curious with this because was this on So Forest by the same artist? Yeah, I thought it turned up in some corset stuff. M10, there we go. Interesting. So that then leads me to wonder, because I like these swamps so much, that particular artwork. Interesting. So there's this from Tense. What's that from? That's from Phyrexia versus a Coalition. 339. Oh, because yeah, okay, so two different pieces of artwork. Oh, yeah, I get it. It's alright. I wasn't thinking. So yeah, it's the same artist did two of the swamp pieces of artwork. These are also in the championship decks from 2001. So 10th edition had one of them, which is this one. Okay. And the Phyrexia versus a Coalition had both. Interesting. So for the other ones, so that's those two. These ones, it's going to be tricky. Looks like they were repeated in Phyrexia versus the Coalition. Do you reckon? Yeah, that's the case, isn't it? Yeah, so there. Are they used earlier? Let me just put these in release date order, might be a bit easier. Ascending. Okay, so there they are. These are completely different from 7th. But they do crop up in, so all four of the swamps crop up in the Phyrexia versus the Coalition dual decks, which I have. Good to know. Right. And I think I am going to quit while I'm ahead. There. Wow. Very nice. Yeah, definitely like the swamps here. Surprise, surprise. Thanks once again for watching. Bye for now, and I will catch you in a future episode.